everyone, welcome to another episode of Talk That Stick. I'm your host, Matt Carson,
CJ, and Jared.
And today we'll be taking a look at the busy week that was with the NHL awards, free agency, and some trades that went down this past week. But before we get into all that, I'd like to ask you guys a couple questions about what do you guys think was the greatest Canadian goal of all time internationally?
You know what? I'll save what I want to say for somebody else. I liked it in the 98 when they were playing, and I'm pretty sure it was Chris Pronger who was opening up a lane passing Mario Lemieux, and then Mario Lemieux spreads out his legs like that, and then Paul Kariya rips it home.
You said Mario Lemieux spreads his legs, eh?
Yeah. Yeah.
He could spread those
legs. He could spread those legs any day, buddy.
No, honestly, I think for me, I think the best goal of all time has to be the 2010. When Crosby got the golden goal.
Who set him up?
I mean, it's the most iconic goal of all time. Overtime, Parise scored with like a minute left coming into it.
Yeah.
So for Crosby to turn around, shoot it in Vancouver at the same time.
Yeah.
It's definitely got to be the best one to go. Again, let's set him up.
Yeah.
Goated.
Greatest flame of all time right there.
Goated.
Yeah. All right, going into the NHL awards now. Rookie of the Year, Matty Beniers won that over Stuart Skinner and Owen Power. What do you guys think about that?
Stuart Skinner's a bum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I think about that.
100%. Yeah?
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I think Stuart Skinner's a little bit of a bum too. But
Holy man, get a haircut.
And it also doesn't help that he's got, McDavid and Draisaitl playing in front of him so they can outscore all the problems, right? He didn't have the most fantastic
Doesn't help
year
because
out
he's
there.
30.
No, but you know what though? In the playoff time, he didn't show up, man.
No,
They really relied on him. Dude, if Stuart Skinner showed up, they win the cup.
Yeah, 100%.
I think they win
agree.
the cup.
Yeah.
I think they go all the way. But dude, they expected him to show up. He didn't show up, so I think he's a little bit overrated at this point. I think because of the goalie, the person they signed at the beginning of the year, right?
Yeah.
So
Jack Campbell?
yeah, thank you. Jack
Goated.
Campbell.
Jackie Campbell.
Yeah, well, he came in expecting big numbers from him, considering what he did in Toronto.
Yeah, and then just kind of pooped the bed on that one halfway through the season.
Yeah, and then Skinner comes out of nowhere, right? Steps it up, right? So
He was really good for them.
he did step it up pretty good,
Yeah.
I think, right?
Yeah.
But
That being said, I think Matty Beniers had just an absolutely insane season with Seattle, helping that team to make the playoffs in only their second year. That's pretty goated.
That kid's got a bright future, man.
100% he does. And then moving on to the Frank J. Selke Trophy, Bergeron winning again, second straight year, sixth time he's won that trophy, and the 12th straight year that he was even nominated for that trophy, and that's a record across all NHL trophies. What do you got to say about that, Bergie?
honestly, I think it's getting to a point where they should just change the trophy name to Bergeron.
Oh yeah.
The Patrice Award.
The Patricia Award.
The Patty B Award.
No, but seriously, at this point, he's kind of solidified that he is that guy to win that award every single year. It's like Connor with the heart.
Yeah.
You
it's
know.
just his trophy.
Yeah, you just know. One day they're gonna change it to the
McJesus
McDavid
Trophy.
And then something that kind of grinded my gears a little bit was Mitch Marner being the third nominee for that trophy. I don't understand that at all. Would you guys consider him a defensive forward?
No.
No. I wouldn't consider him a defensive forward. I think it's just because he's sexy.
Yeah.
All the women, dude, you gotta put in a hot face out of nowhere, right?
all the female professional hockey writers out there were like, yeah, Mitch Marner, he's my guy.
Oh my god, he has a foundation. Their wedding rings just dissolve into their fingers.
He probably uses conditioner too, so they probably love that.
Yeah.
All the other hockey boys, they don't even use soap.
He's like the Matthew McConaughey of the hockey world.
Yeah, I can 100% see that.
Him and Willie Nylander.
I will say they have the best dressed team.
Yeah, Willie Nylander, though, much better looking guy than Marner, in my opinion.
Why?
It's debatable.
Those blonde locks going... Come on, man. That flow that Nylander's got, it's insane.
Yeah, what else?
I'll just leave it at that. Thanks, Jared. But speaking of the Hart Trophy, Connor McDavid, first player since Gretzky in '87 to lead the league in both goals, assists, and points, and he had the most points in a season since Mario Lemieux did it with 161 points in 1996. Just an unbelievable year for McDavid.
Honestly, I understand why he got it, because it is an unbelievable season, but also at the same time, I personally think Matthew Tkachuk deserved that award. if you think about it, you take McDavid off the team and just leave Draisaitl and everybody, they'd probably still make the wild card team. But if you take Draisaitl off the team, I think people undervalue what Draisaitl actually does for that team, right? I still think, yeah. But if going to Matthew Tkachuk, I think he should have won that. Because you take Matthew Tkachuk off the team, they're probably a bottom feeder team. Like, can you?
Oh yeah, like the thing where I was a little bit frustrated was like, although we all knew that he was gonna win the Hart, I think Matthew Tkachuk deserved that year. Like, okay, he didn't put up 153 points, but he's the first American player to have back-to-back 100-point seasons. He had a 109-point season with a new team, with new teammates, new scenery. He didn't let any excuses. Like, look what they should have taken their playoff run into account too. They beat Boston, they beat Toronto, they beat Carolina, which are 3 amazing teams.
Heavy hitters for sure.
Yeah, and they stomped the other 2. Like, they stomped Toronto and they stomped Carolina. Like, yes, they kind of fell apart against Vegas, but he's the heartbeat of that team. In my opinion, like, hot take, they should strip the captaincy off like Barkov and like put it on Tkachuk.
You know what it is though? I feel like the reason why Florida lost, man, is Paul Maurice. If you really think about it, man, that like their way they're set up, they're a playoff team, right? Don't get me wrong, but during the regular season, the reason why they struggled so much over an 82 season game was because Paul Maurice is like, a grit guy, like, get pucks deep, grind the net, like do as much as you can, and that really tires teams out, man. I just think that, Florida just ran out of gas, dude.
Well, I think the level of competition they were facing in the playoffs too is like it's not anywhere near what anybody else had to face.
Juggernaut, dude.
Yeah, like you take out the Dragon Head of Boston, and then you get the number 2 best team in Toronto, and then
the number 2 best team.
The numbers are they not though?
I don't know about that. I think Toronto's severely overrated, but continue.
I mean,
at the time they were number 2.
Yeah, fair.
And then you get, Carolina, who's first in their division, and they still had an unreal season.
Yeah.
You sweep them, right? When you're an 8th seed, they had a better record than Florida did this year, and they didn't make the playoffs. And look what Florida did when they were in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you have Vegas, who played Pooh's Winnipeg. They got past Edmonton. Who did they play in the Western Conference Final again?
Dallas. Yeah.
Dallas shouldn't have made it that far. Straight up. I don't think.
No, I think Seattle had them in that
I think
series.
Seattle did have them.
Yeah.
I don't think that Dallas deserved to be there. I mean, they did. Obviously, they were there. But, like, the level of competition that they were facing, none of those teams makes it past Boston or Carolina the way that Florida does.
See, and, like, dude, realistically, they kind of squeaked by. If Colorado made it, you think they win? They take Vegas? I think they would have taken Vegas.
Think
so. No.
I don't know, man.
Colorado was so decimated by injuries.
They had a down season, but dude, watch out for next year, dude. Colorado's coming back, man.
Yeah, they had some good signings this year. We'll see what they can do. But I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about the most overrated defenseman in the league, Erik Karlsson, winning the Norris Trophy this year. As a hockey fan, I'm very upset about that. I don't think
you
Karlsson
thought
won.
Quinn Hughes should have won it?
No, I don't think Quinn Hughes should have won it. I don't agree with that. But someone like Miro Heiskanen, he wasn't in the top 3 for voting.
That's a joke.
But what?
I think he should have been.
Oh, 100%. And I think a lot of voters turn to, who had the most points as a defenseman, and then they'll give the votes to them. But the award is for the best all-around defenseman, and Miro Heiskanen, I think, embodies that perfectly.
I think the reason why Erik Karlsson got it is because of the resurgence that he had in his career. I know defensive. I think he's a little bit of a defensive liability, like you said, in the back end, right? Like
he's definitely more offensive based.
Yeah, exactly, right? So, but at the same time, I think it's just a storyline, man.
Yeah.
Like, if you really think about it, it's the biggest storyline coming into the season. Did you guys expect Karlsson to get that many points this year?
I thought
No,
Karlsson
not
was
really.
washed a couple of years ago, to be honest.
Yeah. As soon as he went to San Jose, I'm like, his career's done. It's
Yeah.
over. He's not coming back. And then he's the first defenseman to win the Norris Trophy 8 years after winning it since Paul Coffey did it. Like, that's insane to have that come back after 8 years of being just an okay to.
We all know next year he drops back off to 60 points.
Well,
yeah.
And that's what I'm getting at, though. With all of that accumulated, it does make sense that he ends up winning it. I think it's just a storyline for this season in particular. Plus, he's getting up there in age, right? So, just to give him that is something honorable, and he did good this year. There's a lot of interesting speculation on where he's gonna go this year. I think it's gonna be an interesting season because I agree with you. I think on any other team, he probably doesn't put up those numbers again.
I would love to see him go back to Ottawa.
Ooh.
Honestly, Ottawa's starting to get a little bit sneaky good. Like they just picked up Corpusalo, who's good in net. I would love to see Erik Karlsson go back to Ottawa and just light it up, like with one more time. Even
Just,
if it's like,
just for good time's
yeah,
sake.
even if it's like a 1-year contract, like you know
how the NBA does like the retirement tour?
The Erik Karlsson retirement tour goes back to Ottawa, wins a cup.
yeah. Can you imagine though? Like
Oh, that'd be insane.
that'd be awesome.
That'd be the greatest story ever, man.
100%.
Grows out his
Yeah.
hair again, and, you know.
Better than the Hamburglar story.
Right, the first Canadian team to win the cup since '93's Ottawa.
Of all teams.
Ryan Reynolds is just shaking his head like,
I should have bought the team, man.
Should have went to Ottawa Deadpool.
All right, moving on to what I think was easily the most well-deserved win for the NHL awards was Linus Ullmark winning the Vezina Trophy. Fastest goalie to 40 wins ever in the NHL, just an absolute stud for that record-setting Boston team.
So do you think that was the team around him, or do you think that's individually him? Because I've been having that thought like over and over again, especially after the Florida series. Like, don't get me wrong, he played good.
Yeah.
But like, I did not see that coming. So I don't know. We'll see it. We're gonna have to see next year kind of what happens.
It's almost too early to tell.
I like honestly another to bring up Hamburglar again. Buddy came out of nowhere, lit it up. We'll see what happens next year, man.
Yeah.
I agree. He should have won it
Yeah.
for sure, 100%.
Easily the best goalie this year, especially when you consider the other nominations, Ilya Sorokin and Connor Hellebuyck. Like, Sorokin, he's a good goalie, but Hellebuyck this year, I don't think he was anywhere near to the levels he's played at before.
Yeah, I can't wait to see him leave Winnipeg, man.
I am actually so surprised that Shesterkin made it there. He did make it in there before Hellebuyck did. I don't think he had he had a really good year anyways, but
It was a little bit of a down year compared to his Vezina win last
Yeah.
year, but still, over Hellebuyck, I agree with you.
I think
on
they
that.
overrate Hellebuyck a little bit. Too.
Oh,
That's
dude,
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
100%. He's so
It's like-
overrated.
no.
He's
Yeah.
not even the best American goalie in the NHL. That's obviously Demko. I mean, come
I
on.
knew you were gonna say something dumb like that. Fucking dumbass Demko.
Demko.
Dude, Demko's elite.
But he
Honestly,
can't-
if he could play on a team that had a better defense, Demko
You
gets
know y'all
nominated for the
like
Yeah,
Vezina.
but I feel like it's fair to say if you have good defense, you're more than likely gonna have good stats in net.
Well,
That's why
yeah.
I'm going back to Ullmark, bro. Like it's
Yeah.
like they were elite. What were their stats and defensive ratings this year?
For Boston,
They were
off the charts.
They were off
good.
the charts. That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying.
They were a perfect team this year.
Buddy, you could
Yeah.
put like Casey DeSmith in there, and he'd probably win the Vezina. Like Jesus.
Cam Talbot. Anyways, so yeah, lots of good stuff happening at the NHL awards. Some controversy there, some players who won awards that they should have won, but all around, a decent NHL award season.
On a little quick note, just
Sure.
to quickly wrap it up, I did like, however, when Connor won the Hart, they brought the Stelter family up there. I thought
That was
that
a
was
touching
great.
moment.
I'm not
for
an
sure.
Edmonton fan, but I thought that was super nice, and I thought that was really tasteful for the NHL
Yeah.
to do that, and it was super respectful, and it's a sad story, but it's really cool.
I'm tearing up a little bit.
Even for those Flames fans out there.
Yeah, what was that all about, bro? You gonna do me like that? This guy, man.
So a couple surprises at the draft this weekend. We had Leo Carlsson going number 2 to Anaheim. Who saw that coming?
Nobody. Remember last week? You guys bet a prime on that?
Yeah, no one gets that prime because we were both wrong.
I think I should get the prime just because
We were both
were wrong.
Dude, I literally texted my girlfriend mid, and I was like, if you guys don't take Fantilli at number 2, this team is washed, and they didn't because she's an Anaheim fan.
Oh yeah?
And I'm like, she's like, who's this? I'm like, the fact that they didn't take him is ridiculous.
Yeah.
They must have saw something in Leo Carlsson. I know you were bringing up off the pod earlier, talking about, like where Fantilli's from,
Yeah.
right? Like he is from Michigan.
I think that they were looking long term.
Yeah.
I think when you have like European players that come in, they don't really care where they get drafted to. You know what I mean? Whereas if you're raised in North America, you kind of have more bias. And I think if I had to guess, and from what I've read, Fantilli wanted to play in Columbus. And I don't think he would have re-signed long term in Anaheim come like later down the road, whereas Columbus has a better chance of re-signing him.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think Carlson will have an issue re-signing anywhere he gets drafted to.
Plus the prospect of Fantilli, Gaudreau, and
Laine,
Laine.
that's-
That's
Could be an elite
that's-
first
that does
line
sound
for
nice.
sure.
yeah, it sounds nice.
And Columbus actually just signed him to his entry level, so I'm pretty sure he's going to be playing on the roster next year.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
like
okay.
he
So-
has to.
Oh yeah, he's
Yeah.
too good not to. Like,
I know you were mentioning Michikov. How do you feel about him
About
going
Michkov?
6? Dude?
You know what? As a diehard Michkov fan, I was a little bit gut wrenched with that. I was a little sad. Not gonna lie. I was sitting there in front of my TV, a couple tears rolling down my face, and my boy Michkov going number 6.
You know what I hear? I hear a lot of the time with Russian players, especially with the KHL contracts. Like Russian players will go tell specific agents of teams, like, "Hey, I'm not playing for 3 years." But then he'll go tell a certain team that he wants to play for, "I'm coming."
There was actually something that just came out today that he was telling Philly that he should be able to come and attend their development camp next year.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
I think something.
Really? Yeah, no, not kidding. Like he's saying that he'll be able to get out of his contract in the K and come over next
Yeah,
year.
he's gonna get shot in the process. Like,
Trying to flee the country.
yeah, bro.
Putin's like, "Get back here now."
You haven't done your military service yet, bud.
Putin grabbed his gold last week.
I'm Putin you back.
Another surprise, Dmitry Shimashev at number 6 to the Coyotes. That's another pick I don't understand. He would have been available at their pick at 12. They
Yeah.
jump up and pick him at 6.
I don't know why they took him so early.
Did you see the way they showed up with their
All the
suits
suits all
this
matching.
They
year?
were all matching. I'm like, you're trying so hard to be relevant right now, Arizona. Come on.
Let's show our 2,000 spectators what a well-dressed man looks like.
Like, dude, relax,
Like-
man. You guys are a joke of an organization.
I
You
heard
picked
there
up
were-
a joke of a player that you said you could have picked 12.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I don't know what they were doing with that.
he's probably not even going to resign there, too, after his entry-level deal's done.
He's not Jason
Probably
Zucker.
not.
He's not signing Arizona.
Yeah. And then your boy Zach Benson dropping to Buffalo at 13.
Man, I know. It was funny because when we were watching the draft, I was texting you guys right on the phone. Remember that? I was
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, dude, I hope we get Benson. He's coming up." And then look, Buffalo takes him. Of course, Buffalo. Dude, I wanted Zach Benson because we needed wingers.
Yeah.
You know, I'm okay with the guy we took, but Zach Benson, like, I of course I play NHL 23, and like, dude, buddy always ends up being like a 93, 94 player.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know if I'm comparing the two together, but
Probably a little bit, but yeah.
still, like, you know, we needed somebody like that. He's a shifty, small guy, and he's fast, and he's got a lot of speed, right? So I'm a little bit upset. Don't get me wrong. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm okay with what we picked. We still need good wingers, and
Jaeger.
yeah,
Brendan Yeager.
I didn't think it would be him, and what award did he win this year? Did you say?
Zach Benson?
No, not Zach Benson. Brendan Yeager. This most sportsmanlike.
Oh, yeah, I believe he won the most sportsmanlike. I can't remember what league he came out of. It was either the W or the O, but
Yeah.
he came out of one of those, and he did win the most sportsmanlike player of the year in that league. So
So
you're getting a character guy over
I
there.
don't want sports.
Team guy.
God. I don't like team. I like team guys. I don't like sportsman-like guys. Those guys don't win. You guys need grit. You need, like, that kind of
See,
player.
but that's the thing, though, man. Like, everybody says the Penguins need grit. We've tried that like 4 or 5 times, and it always turns around and busts us in the face, bro.
Yeah.
Like, dude, we need speed. We need skill.
I
we
am speed.
Seriously, though, that's what we need, man. Like, we need to stop with this whole grit thing. That's why Ron Hextall got fired. He made our team terrible. I think it was a sabotage, buddy.
Sabotage.
Speaking of speed and skill, we had Oliver Moore dropping down to 19 at Chicago.
Dude,
if it's not rigged at this point,
oh
man,
my God.
I'm sorry. Like,
let's
come
give
on.
somebody who could have easily been a top 10 pick.
I would
think
even
Oliver
really
Moore
go
could have
top
gone 10.
8.
Dude, seriously.
Yeah.
When Calgary was coming up at 16, I'm like, Oliver Moore, pick him, and then they take, like, I don't even like our pick, honestly, but the fact that Chicago gets Bedard, and now they get this kid, now they have Corey Perry and Taylor Hall, I think, okay, I know it's not much, but it's something.
Corey Perry? That's going to put them over the top?
Oh, yeah. But
Winning the cup, boys!
you know why? Grit.
Team player.
Team guy.
What do they call him? CP1? Because he's won 1 ring, but he's been on 3 cups.
3
cup
cup
contenders.
finals.
Yeah.
But no, I think Oliver Moore, that he should not have went that late, and Chicago is extremely lucky that they have him.
Yeah.
I don't know what everybody else was thinking.
Yeah, it's honestly, as a Canucks fan, I was looking at the board, I'm like, Oliver Moore, he's available. You guys should jump up and take him. You're talking about a guy who's got McDavid speed. He just, his IQ isn't quite there yet, but if he can work on that, he's going to be a sick player down the road. He's going to be elite.
We'll get there.
Speaking of that, did you boys see what happened with Carey Price?
David,
who?
I just love, like, you could, like, smell the gears in his brain just boiling. Just, And for our pick, David. And then he just starts looking around. It's like, oh my, no way.
And the fact that none of the management team like helped him out for like the first like 5 seconds.
They
They're
did
all
him
just looking
dirty.
at him.
Like, what are you doing, Carrie?
And then they're like, we planned this. Like, sure.
Cap.
He didn't do his research, and Carrie paid the price.
Oh!
Boom.
Yeah.
And then, do you guys know who Easton Cohen is?
Who?
Exactly.
He should have went like mid-60s. I don't know why
He was rated 51st overall out of North American skaters, not just all skaters, North American skaters. So he should have been at most like a high third round, mid third round pick, and he goes at 28 to Toronto. Like, what is Treliving doing?
Yeah, dude. Honestly, I think he's trying to make him the Flames again.
Let's say like
That's
you
how
know,
it feels.
the only pick that made that I know what you guys are gonna say. Yeah. The only pick that Brad Treliving made that was any good for Calgary. Do we want to guess who it is?
Gaudreau? Oh no, he went undrafted, didn't he? Kachuk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gaudreau. He was 4th round.
Yeah? Okay.
2011. No, Treliving, the only good pick he's ever made was Matthew Kachuk. He picked, like, he wasn't even there for the Sam Bennett pick, which still wasn't super great. He picked up, like, a bunch of nobodies. He picked up Pelche a few years ago, who's played, like, no games. You know, it's kind of Daryl Sutter's fault, but whatever. But the fact that he is...
The Daryl Sutter effect.
Daryl Sutter effect.
Your team becomes trash.
Stay on your farm forever.
Oh, speaking, I know this is off topic.
Yeah, go ahead.
Babcock. Hey?
Oh.
Columbus.
Oh my
Gaudreau
God.
thought that Sutter was bad.
Yeah.
Oh.
Mike
He's
Babcock's
in
gonna eat him alive.
Oh, dude, Columbus. Hot take here. They're going to be a playoff team in 2 years.
I think it'll be next year.
Maybe wild card.
No,
that-
not
in the
next
Metro.
year.
No, not the
No.
Metro. Yeah, 2 years.
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
2 years. Yeah.
Especially with their core D, they're not bad on the defensive.
Their
end.
defensive. Their top 4 right now is elite.
Can we agree that it seems like Columbus was tanking last year?
Oh,
What do you
of
mean it
course.
seems?
It's- dude, like,
they
they-
were.
I had them like not making the playoffs, but like being like kind of close, and then they're just out of nowhere, just vroom, just
Dude,
nothing.
Imagine Gaudreau's face after that, and then to New Jersey to make the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
What if you put Gaudreau on New Jersey? How far do you think? You think they still get knocked out that early?
Not that I think they.
No.
Make the, I think they
No, right?
No.
I don't think so.
I think they maybe go on. I don't think they go to the Cup.
I know. I think they make
Jack
the
Hughes,
final.
Jack Hughes and Gaudreau up there, man.
I don't think they go. Sorry.
That's gonna be that would have been elite if he had gone there.
Yes, for Brad and everybody else.
Yeah,
I don't think they win the Cup, but they go far.
yeah, probably Eastern Conference Final.
I-
I could get
but
on board
hey,
with that.
Yeah.
But to be fair, he wanted to. Remember, he wanted to go home.
He did.
He wanted to go home, and then he signs 8 hours away from home because he doesn't want to be too close to home.
Yeah.
But he doesn't want to be that far because if he can't afford a plane ticket, making the millions of dollars a year that he does.
Yeah.
So, you know, and he doesn't want to deal with COVID restrictions, but now that we have so many of those still in play, but he
Yeah.
still wants to go home.
What,
Yeah.
What would
So-
how would the Flames do if they kept him? You think they go far? They make
Dude,
the
with
playoffs?
Huberdeau and Gaudreau on the same line after Kachuk, dude, who knows? If Gaudreau still stays, maybe Kachuk stays.
No.
No.
I don't think
No.
so. I think it was inevitable that he goes, man.
I think the Daryl Sutter effect.
Strikes again. All right, boys. At the draft, obviously, there were a lot of memories made from a lot of these players, and that's something that I wanted to dive into next with us. What were some core memories that you guys had growing up as hockey fans?
For me, it was really just watching hockey. So my dad was a huge Flames fan, right? Obviously, and it's kind of funny now because we think the same way about hockey. Like when he became a Flames fan, Gretzky was on the Oilers back in the '80s, and the only reason he wasn't an Edmonton fan is because he hated Gretzky, how overhyped he was. So he became a Flames fan. Plus, they were more gritty, and that's just like the way of hockey he likes. The same way I kind of think about it now. Although McDavid's the best player on the planet, I can't stand him because he's an Edmonton Oiler.
Mm-hmm.
If he was on my team, I'd have 16 of his jerseys, but he's not on my team.
Yeah.
So,
What are you gonna do?
but no, just playing hockey like with him and always loving the sport. And it's my favorite sport, and just I've been a crazy hockey fan for my whole life. I stopped watching hockey for a little while actually, and then, funny enough, when Kachuk and got like the heated rivalry back with Alberta and Calgary, I obviously started watching a bit more and realized how much I missed watching hockey every day. And yeah, it's just been a long ride being a Flames fan and being a good team, but
Yeah.
we'll get there one day. What about you?
Eventually.
Honestly, for me, it was growing up. I played ice hockey, ball hockey my whole life, right? I grew up with you, played hockey with you as kids. And for hockey, for me, it was a way of an escape, right? Because with the way I grew up and, you know, there was a little bit of turmoil within my family life and everything. So, and my dad was a huge part of my hockey life and my hockey career and everything growing up. But the biggest thing I could say was I used to, in our off seasons, right, we'd go play for this little league, right? It was just like out of like one of those low bucket kind of teams, right?
Mm-hmm.
Shout out Surrey Central. That league was one of the best, most fun. Like, you know, nobody cared. They wanted to play. Yeah, so like we'd play, right? And like I was on this team and it was a gold medal game. And my dad, like, he comes up to me and he tells me to come here to the boards, right? And so I'm up at the glass and my dad's like, yeah, I want you to go in, toe drag, go right, then left, and backhand it in.
Yeah.
And then he's like, he's booty on his back, on his glove, on his blocker, sorry. And so I kind of questioned it at first, right? Because that's where I was trying to aim all game.
Yeah.
And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to give it a go. I trust my dad. He was been my coach for like ever. This was just the one time that he couldn't be my coach. So I come in, right? Toe drag, go forehand, backhand, and I sniped it. I sniped it, and we ended up getting gold. And you know, that's one of the biggest like moments of my career. And like, shout out to my dad for always being there and being that guy. You know, being my rock and being my coach. Without hockey,
Team guy.
Without hockey, I don't think I would have been where I am today. So that's a shout out to you, hockey, for everything you've done for me and my family. Yeah, that's honestly one of my greatest, and I'll never forget it.
Wow. Boys, getting me a little bit teared up over here, not gonna lie. But speaking of dads, that was, again, one of the same reasons why I went into hockey. I remember me and my dad every Saturday night sitting down for Hockey Night in Canada at 4 p.m. watching the Eastern games, right? And I remember then the Canucks games would come on at 7, and my dad wouldn't let me stay up past the second period, right? I had school the next day and needed to go to bed. He's like, all right, at the second intermission, it's time for you to go to bed, right? And so I specifically remember the first time he allowed me to stay up and watch the whole game was when Vancouver was playing Dallas in the 2007 Stanley Cup Final, Game 1. It's going to overtime. And I was like, yeah, you can stay up and watch this. Goes to quadruple overtime, and Henrik Sedin scores the game-winning goal to win Game 1.
Wait, the Stanley Cup Final?
Did I say the Stanley Cup Final? These are my dreams coming into play here. I meant round one of the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay, round 1 Stanley Cup playoffs. Henrik Sedin getting the game-winning goal there against Dallas. That was my first hockey memory, and then after that, just became a diehard Canucks fan, diehard hockey fan, and just that's my passion for the game has grown ever since. So shout out to dads everywhere. Thank you.
Shout out to you, dads. And if you guys want to follow along for more of these stories, like, subscribe, please keep going. We'd love to share these stories. And if you guys got any interesting comments, drop them down below and we'll read them out to you guys. We love hearing those stories.
Mm-hmm.
We love the support.
We do, 100%. Speaking of support, it's that time in the podcast where we like to take the time to give a shout out to our sponsors for this video. And our sponsor for today's video is Nobody.
Because we're broke.
But that's where you come in. Please follow, like, subscribe, send it to all your friends so we can keep making that content that you guys love. We're trying to bring back the entertainment side of Hockey Boys. So like, if you guys keep following us, we're just going to get better and better and better, and we're going to keep talking that stick.
100%. All right, boys, getting into some trades that happened over the draft this past week and leading up to free agency. I'm going to cover the big ones. Obviously, we're not going to be talking about, swapping third-round picks, right? But we'll get into some big ones here. What was that?
7th-round pick.
Swapping 7th round.
Groundbreaking.
Oh. We're going to start off with Taylor Hall and Nick Foligno getting traded from Boston and going to Chicago. And in return, Boston receiving Ian Mitchell and some dude named Alec Regula.
That sounds like a nice pasta.
It does sound like a nice pasta.
Imagine.
With a little bit of Alfredo sauce in there.
Ooh.
Like Parmesan.
Reggiano.
Dude, him and Pasternak would be elite.
Goated.
No, but honestly, for like Taylor Hall going there, like I think it's good. I think it's good. He's gonna be a good depth guy as long as Chicago does not expect him to be like top guy because he hasn't done it. Yeah,
Taylor Hall.
He hasn't done anything for like 7 years. So as long as they don't expect that, he's pretty good. And then for Nick Foligno, Flamingo.
Flamingo.
Yeah, it's just a salary cap dump for Boston.
But Taylor Hall. I mean, could you imagine if him and Bedard just go crazy, put up 100 points each, and Taylor Hall wins the Hart again?
Dude,
Connor Bedard's daddy.
Just turn that into a T-shirt. Taylor Hall is Connor Bedard's daddy.
dude, I will if that happens, I will wear a Chicago Blackhawks jersey for a year.
All right, bet.
But
Okay, let's do it.
If he wins the Hart, that's not gonna happen. But if he wins the Hart, I'll wear it for a year. Every podcast for a year.
Do I get to choose whose name you put on the back of that as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
As long as it's a Chicago guy,
Okay.
deal. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, it's not gonna
I plan on
happen.
buying somebody a Bedard Chicago jersey who's an Anaheim fan just to rub it in.
Second trade we'll go through. Alex Newhook gets traded to Montreal, and Colorado receives 2 picks. One pick, second rounder in 2023. Sorry, not a second rounder. A first rounder in 2023, who they used to select Mikhail Guyayev, and then a second rounder who they then traded to Tampa for Ross Colton.
Sick pickup.
Dude, Alex Newhook is underrated, man. Just because he played for Colorado, he's good, man.
He's really good.
Dude, watch out for Montreal next year, man.
Yeah.
With David, who?
We would like to select David.
Reinbacher?
No, but then I guess with Druin going out the door, right? Like, I think it's a good pickup, man.
Yeah.
Druin was they expected big things out of him. So.
Druin come to Calgary?
All right, man. Really? You think everyone's going to Calgary?
No, I said he can come to Calgary.
Said Nick Crosby.
Probably would. He looked nice in red.
And honestly, I think Colorado does very well in this trade too. They get a decently good first-round pick out of this, and they're able to use that second to flip to get Ross Colton, who's also not a bad player for Tampa.
No, I think he's a decent pickup.
Yeah.
Salary cap dump for Colorado too. They couldn't afford Newhook.
They couldn't, but they did good with what they had to do.
Yeah, exactly.
100%. Another trade, Pierre-Luc Dubois. This was a big one. Him going to LA and Winnipeg in return receiving Alex Alafalo, Rasmus Kupari, Gabe Velarde, and a 2024 second-round pick.
Winnipeg fleeced them.
100%.
Dude, to do Iafallo and maybe like a crappy pick for Dubois is like, that's enough.
Like, Iafallo and a first would have done it.
Not even a
Iafallo
first,
and
I
a
said
second and a third.
Sorry, you follow who?
Iafallo.
No, but no, I think Dubois got overpaid, to be honest. We were having that discussion a couple days ago. Usually, like, those type of centers, 5 to 7.5 mil?
Yeah, second line centers, that's what they go for. Like, PDL's probably on the high end of that, so like I could see him, signing for 7 mil. But what he got 8.5, right?
Yeah.
Oh man.
You think he raises?
Overpaid.
You think he raises the bar though for other players to get paid? Like he's gonna,
Yeah.
and like agents will go in and be like, "Hey, look, this guy got paid this."
Yeah.
Do you think he raises
Well,
the bar?
I think that started with the Horvat deal with the Islanders. Same sort of deal, right? He got 7 by 8.5. Right?
Even that, like that's
Pretty sure he got
overpaid.
more than that. Pretty
No,
sure
he
he's
got
getting paid
8.5.
8.
Yeah. Anyways, but like, dude, even that, like that deal, like that's a good thing to bring up. That deal's like I know he's your boy, but like, come on.
He was my boy, not my boy
But come
anymore.
on, like that's even a little bit overpaid now. And nowadays, dude, like NHL players don't understand that like sometimes you need to take a discount to win.
I think some of them just don't want to win anymore. They're just in it for the money.
Yeah, dude.
Secure
Shorzy said it best. Matthews and those guys, they don't want to win, dude.
No.
They're teeing up for the golf season, dude.
Yep.
And
They secure the bag and that's it.
Get the paycheck, go home, call it a day.
yeah, Nick David.
So Winnipeg was able to fleece LA with that trade, but Calgary was not able to get anything out of New Jersey for Tyler Toffoli. Tyler Toffoli goes to the New Jersey Devils, and Calgary receives Yegor Sharangovich and a 2023 third rounder who they used to select Adar Suniev.
Where do I start with this? Alright? I understand that Tyler Toffoli would not re-sign, and he's on the end of his contract now, which means he's probably not going to re-sign in New Jersey. I mean, maybe he will, I don't know. That guy is, I think, overrated and underrated at the same time. He's good at what he does, but he's streaky. Once he's on, he's extremely reliable and he's good, but when he's not on, like, he's just a ghost out there. However, last year he put up 78 points, career year. He was one of the best on our team. He's better. He's gotten better at his two-way play, but again, Calgary is kind of in a zone right now where they have to trade off their people that don't want to re-sign because like the Kachuk and the Gaudreau thing. Ever since then, I don't think they're playing games anymore. And Craig Conroy, the new GM, had to make a splash. I do think he could have gotten more for Toffoli. However, Sharon Govich hasn't really come into his own. I don't think yet. He's still we got younger with his trade, thankfully.
Mm-hmm.
He's faster than Toffoli. He's more of a physical presence, but I still don't think he will ever put up the kind of goal scoring that Toffoli has produced. I could be wrong one day, and hopefully I am, because I did not want to lose Tyler Toffoli, especially for something like this. I think we could have at least got another pick for him.
Yeah. Or what you could have done, just because this was such a deep draft, forgo Sharon Govich altogether and try to get a first or high second out of this for Toffoli.
I wish we traded a lot more for picks.
Very
deep draft class.
I don't think Toffoli repeats what he does.
Oh, no.
in New Jersey, dude. Honestly,
I might disagree. New Jersey's got a good team. It might help them keep those numbers.
He also played on our first line with Huberdeau this year.
Yeah.
So next year, he played with the last line on our first line. Excuse me, but. He's going on a team with Jack Hughes, like that. Their top six has now gotten
solidified.
Yeah, like I think he plays second line for them, but
they'll be a top team in the Metro next year.
Oh yeah, easily.
And then another team that I can't wait to go over when we do a season preview for them because they've done a lot this offseason, but we'll just cover one of the trades that they made. Detroit acquiring Kyler Yamamoto and Klim Kostin for future considerations. They buy out Yamamoto and then they sign Klim Kostin to a deal.
Dude, honestly, Stevie Y, man, you gotta give credit to that guy as a GM.
Local boy.
I swear to God, dude, I'm just kind of sad he left Tampa before they won their cups. That was kind of sad, but he built Tampa. He built that team. I think he's one of the best general managers, if not the best general manager in the league.
From what I've heard as well, that guy does not play around. If he wants somebody, he really tries for him, but he also won't overpay for someone.
Yeah.
He's a grinder when it comes to making deals. I think that's just his hockey experience coming into play.
Yeah.
But the fact that Edmonton, Yamamoto is whatever, but Klim Kostin, he was looking
up
really
and coming.
nice for Edmonton.
He was going to be a good player for them.
I don't understand that trade. I know they probably can't afford him, but you really should try to at least trade him.
Yeah.
Who do you think picks up Yamamoto?
Oh, he signed today in Seattle.
Seattle, yeah.
That's a good pick, man.
I don't know. No, it was a 1-year deal for $4.5 million, I believe.
I think was it?
Wow.
It was 4.5. It was either 4.5 or 3.5. I can't remember.
Dude, Seattle, that's a team to look out for next year, man.
Well, they made the playoffs this year with a team that probably shouldn't have, but then they just got better this offseason. They've still got a number more weeks left to put together an even better team. I think they challenge for third in the Pacific again.
And they got Brian Dumoulin. I know he's not
Brian
a great.
who?
Yeah, exactly. But seriously though, I think Seattle, misfit team, they go far next year, man.
I think they just have one of the best from top to bottom depth teams in the league.
So deep.
Yeah.
Deep.
They don't have any stars, but they have a lot of just really good guys.
Yeah, I agree, to be
Jared
honest.
McCann elevated his play. I know that CJ really was happy that he's not in Pittsburgh anymore, but
Yeah. Well, me too with the Canucks. We originally drafted him and then we sent him to Florida for Eric Goodbranson. Yeah. What in the world were we thinking? Anyways, we won't go too deep into that, but...
And then we took Goodbranson.
Yeah, we took it. Both Pittsburgh and Vancouver just making parallel dumb.
We have him.
The Flames had him too.
He played on
Goodbranson? Oh, yeah. He actually did play decently for you guys.
He did play good for us.
Yeah, he was a good journeyman.
Yeah. And then the final trade that we'll go over was New Jersey trading their 7th round pick in 2023 to Nashville for their 2024 7th round pick so that David Poile could have one final selection in the 2023 draft.
Dude, that's a full circle moment if you think about it. The GM of New Jersey was the first guy Poile.
David Poile.
Anyways, David Poile.
David.
That's the first guy he signed to Nashville's inaugural season.
Yeah.
So, dude, coming full circle, man. And plus, dude, all you hear about this guy is that, he's really respected. He mentored a lot of GMs. There's not one person in the NHL that said a bad thing about him. He's really active within his community. He's a great guy, and honestly, shout out to him because he's gonna be missed in the world of hockey.
Yeah.
But then, as for the new GM,
Barry Trotz is another quality individual.
he already knows Nashville too.
Yeah.
I think it's just a really good feel-good moment.
Yeah, 100% is, yeah. And then just to be able to GM a team for 26 straight years, that's unheard unheard of in
Yeah.
today's NHL. Like, you just mad props to Poyle.
And he's the most winningest GM in NHL history.
Yeah.
Like, that's a credit to himself. And shout out to New Jersey as an organization to just do that.
Yeah, it's
like,
a good moment for the NHL.
Think about it. Like, not a lot
Good
of teams do that, man. A lot of teams would have just flipped him the bird and said, "Screw you, see you later," you know. But
Yeah.
clearly, that's a credit to David Pulley.
Sounds like an issue, not an issue.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to dive into some of the free agent signings over the past week. But before we do that, I want to ask you guys, what do you think were the worst free agent signings in NHL history? Or in CJ's case, what was the worst NHL signing of all time? Because I know you've got someone up your sleeve here, but we'll start off with Jared here.
As a Calgary fan, it's a little early to tell, but if I'm being honest with myself and with you guys and the viewers, that Nas and Kadri signing from last season hurts.
Yeah, I got
It's
it.
not going to age well.
No.
At
It's
all.
already not.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, last season he started off really hot and then he dropped off like I knew he would, and we now have 6 more years of this. That's $7 million.
Yikes. And he's not even... He plays... What position is he? Center or winger?
Center.
Okay. That's not bad because you're still getting some value from him for face-offs and that sort of thing, but for $7 million, but...
It's one of the old tale stories of a guy who wins the cup, and because of the team that he was on, they overvalued him.
Yeah.
So, dude, he comes in. Like his contract is ridiculous.
7 by 7. Oh.
They should have looked at his numbers from Toronto. Like it just says
Well,
right
he's
there.
back to his numbers in Toronto.
That's
He's
what
got
I'm
50
saying.
something
Like
points
he's
this
definitely. If they signed him to a lesser of a deal, like less money, it definitely would have think a bit.
year. I wish they cut the term, and I wish they cut the money in half. I would be happy.
See, that's the thing. That's the thing about like all these NHL contracts. Like that's such a long term. Like the way NBA does it. It's like they give you 1-year deals, 2-year deals. I know like they could keep asking for more money at the time, but like it makes more sense to me to have a shorter deal with more money on the outcomes, because then you have more flexibility with what you can do with your teams. Speaking of which, like when it goes to like one of the worst contract signings, Rick DiPietro. 15 goddamn years with the Islanders. His contract just ended in 2020.
And he's still getting paid until, I believe, 2026.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, that's easily
Team guy, secure the bed.
That's easily got to be one of the worst signings I've ever seen. Plus, and you mentioned earlier off the pod, him and Luongo and Kovalchuk, I would put him in there, are the reason why we don't do those, or aren't allowed to do those 10, 11, 12, 14, extra 15-year deals.
Yeah.
Because, dude, that screwed the Islanders, man.
100%. And I think it's so ironic, too, that DiPietro, I believe, is a color analyst right now for the Islanders. So they're both paying him to cover the team as well as to not play for them anymore.
Fleeced!
Secure the bag.
Talk about the biggest fleece in NHL history, Rick DiPietro.
Dude, he's a pin.
The Wolf of Islanders.
Oh, man. I'm going to select your David Clarkson as what I think is the worst free agent signing in NHL history, right? You have the Toronto Maple Leafs, who are coming off probably the biggest disappointment in their playoff history, coming off that 2013 collapse to Boston in Game 7, right? You're up in the series, you're up in that game, and you still manage to blow it, right? So they're looking around and they're like, all right, what can we add to this team that will just put us over the top? They look over their shoulder and they're like, you know what? David Clarkson is our guy. Oh, so they go out and they sign the guy to a 7-year, $36 million contract.
To be fair, at the time, he put up some numbers the year before.
The year before he put up 30 goals,
but
but before that year, he was like maybe a low-end third liner at best.
Yeah.
At best.
Yeah, and it took him so long to just get off that contract alone.
Do you know how many goals he scored once he signed that contract over the next 118 games? If you could wager a guess.
14.
15 goals in the next 118 games. He goes from scoring 30 in 82 games to then scoring 50 in 118.
At least he
What a
played.
bum.
At least he played. Rick DiPietro didn't play.
He didn't play for long, though. He got so many injuries that he became a cap dump
that's
swap
true.
with Nathan Horton in Columbus, and then he got...
Nathan Horton.
You remember that guy, Nathan Horton?
Yeah, dude, Nathan Horton. Dude, he was a beauty in Boston.
Yeah, it's too bad he just got absolutely laid out by Aaron Rome.
I would put that contract. I'd put that contract. Yeah, he did.
End of his career.
I'd put that contract up there too. Hey, Nathan Horton has one of the worst contracts too.
Yeah.
Just because of the injuries and everything.
Brad
Definitely.
Richards.
Yeah, Brad Richards too.
Yeah,
There's a lot to debate there.
there's been a lot of bad ones. And this year, for Free Agent Frenzy, there weren't a lot of bad contracts handed out. A lot of them short-term deals and decent money. So we'll go into a couple of them. We're first going to start with Carolina, who I think made 3 excellent signings on day 1 of free agent. Well, actually, I'm going to say 2. One of the guys I don't think they should have signed, but we'll get into that. So the first guy, re-signing Frederik Andersen to a 2-year contract, $3.4 million a year. He left the season with 21 wins, 11 losses, and 1 overtime loss.
Great signing.
Yeah.
Freddie Anderson's, ever since he's been in Toronto, has been super, at least in my opinion, he's been like a really good goalie. He's sometimes better than not, but I think for Carolina, that's a good signing. And the term is good. Goalies, I don't think you should ever
Such
sign
a
goalies.
volatile
Yeah,
position.
you should
Yeah,
never
it is.
sign them long term. And I think he's been good for Carolina ever since he's, I think, 2 seasons ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at $3.4 million too, that's extremely
Yeah.
reasonable. Like a good goaltender right now in the NHL, you're looking at around $5 million. To get him at 3.4 a year,
Well, look at Yari. He signed.
tidy piece of
Yari
business.
signed at 5.5.
Not
And
worth.
dude, Yari compared to Anderson, I'd take
Anderson.
No, but like, dude, with Anderson, like the only reason why he got so much scrutiny back in the day was because look who he was playing for, right? He was playing for Toronto for a bit. It's hard to be a goalie in Toronto, man.
Come on.
Yeah,
Especially back then.
that's what I mean.
So bad.
Comes over to Carolina, kills it. Yeah, dude, I think that's a great signing by Carolina. I think they did a really good job this offseason.
Another signing that they had, the big defenseman Dmitry Orlov signed in Carolina for, again, short term, 2 years at $7.75 million a year. He had 7 goals last year, 29 assists and 36 points, splitting his time between Washington and Boston.
I don't like how much he's getting paid, but when he first got put on to Boston after the deadline, he was lighting it up.
Yeah, but you know that cap hit does. It's a little bit swallowable at 2 years. If you gave him like a 4, 5, 6 year contract at that number, I would have a lot more problems with it. But only 2 years,
You'll be alright.
it could end up being a good bet for them.
I think, dude, Carolina's making the smart plays as a GM because I think they're realizing, like, it's not worth signing these guys to long-term deals.
No,
And it's better to have rental players come play for a year because guys like Dmitry Orlov, you can find him anywhere. You know, players like that, essentially. Like, next year, they could find somebody to play, like, exactly like him.
I would tend to disagree with that. It's really hard to find hard-nosed defensemen that can actually also still put up points.
I don't know. I find that defenseman is like a revolving door, man.
It is because teams have a hard time finding them, so
That's
that
what-
everyone just keeps trading them around because that's kind of what you have to
Yeah,
do. But
but
and then
Branson.
sorry,
Eric
Goodbranson.
Goodbranson.
I know, man. What a stud. Honestly, he
Goated.
makes a pylon look better.
you
than
think he makes the Hall of Fame?
No.
Eric Goodbranson, Hall of Fame nominee in
Gets it-
2032.
Gets his jersey retired in every single
Vancouver, Anaheim, Columbus, Calgary, Pittsburgh.
What was his number? I don't even know what his number
Oh, that's
was.
what I mean.
Like 34, some
For some
random
reason, I
number.
want to say 3, but
For us, he
wasn't.
was 44.
44, yeah. I think he was 44.
He's I think 3 because he looks like a 3.
No, don't even disrespect my boy Dion Phaneuf like that.
And then a signing in Carolina that I didn't like was Michael Bunting for
Oh.
3 years at $4.5 million per year. Last year he put up 23 goals, 26 assists and 49 points in Toronto. But he gets scratched in their playoff games after his suspension in favor of Matthew Nyes, whoever that guy is, right?
No,
And then-
that's a big story there.
Yeah, it is.
It is a big story there, but come on, man. Really?
That's actually a good signing for Carolina. I like I like Michael Bunting. I think that Toronto is not very smart for letting him go. I think the fact that he's now 27 years old, he spent all that time in the juniors, and then he came up last season.
He was Dubas's
2
boy.
seasons ago.
Yeah. So I was gonna go to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
But no, I think that's a good pickup for Carolina. I think there's nothing but upside there, and he's not making a whole lot.
And so it's like one of those situations where sometimes you kind of have to overpay a player. Is Carolina really like a destination team? Like for talking market, like team market?
They're starting to
They're
get up
getting there,
now,
but
man.
they're not getting. That's the problem
Yeah.
with mid-level markets, right? Sometimes you have to overpay for these players to come into the organization, right?
I'm going to have to disagree with you guys on this one. I think Michael Bunting has had some good years in Toronto just because of the players that he's playing with, and he's so fresh that oftentimes players coming in for their first season on a good team will light it up and then just drop it off for the rest of their career. So
Like the Hamburglar.
Exactly. So my prediction, this contract is not going to age well, and they're going to buy him out in the final year of his deal and try to trade him.
I could see that. I definitely could see the final year. But keep in mind, like, what about the first 2 years? I think, okay. I do see where you're coming from the third year.
And, like, where is he going to play to? He's not going to play in their top six. Their top six is loaded. So you're playing, like, $4.5 million for a winger on your third line. I don't quite know about that one.
He's a good third line winger, though, to be fair.
Yeah, he is.
He is a top-level third line winger.
Yeah.
About $4.5 million late season.
Again, like mid-level.
But it's short-term.
And mid-level market team, dude. If it was like Chicago, like a destination where people want to go, I don't think they're paying that.
Probably not. Moving on to Ryan O'Reilly, getting a similar contract in Nashville. 4 years, $4.5 million a season. He had 16 goals, 14 assists, and 30 points through 51 games split between St. Louis and Toronto last year.
I don't like that contract at all.
Yeah, I kind of agree.
I don't know why he would leave Toronto. I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, he's from Toronto.
And I believe Toronto was trying to actually keep him.
They were trying to keep him.
Yeah.
He probably would have he could have secured the bag in Toronto.
Yeah.
They probably would have signed him to 7 years. They probably would have signed him to like 6 or 7, something stupid.
Yeah.
Maybe not that high, but I don't know why he'd go to Nashville. It doesn't seem like I don't understand it personally myself.
Mm-hmm.
And although he didn't put up as many points last year, I still think he's one of the best like face-off centers right now.
Yeah,
I agree.
You know, he gets injured quite a bit, but
he does.
I still,
51 games last year.
Yeah, I don't know why he'd sign in Nashville. Nashville doesn't seem like they're having any kind of future in the next little while, and Toronto has more future than they do.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I think, do you think like he's pissed off at Austin Matthews? Like for that shot that he got to the finger? Dude,
You broke my finger.
Yeah, I was watching.
I'm going to Nashville now.
Yeah, no, I watched another pod, right? He's like, dude, and he explained it so well. Dude, Austin Matthews racks up 50 goals a year, bro. You don't think his aim's that good? Like, I think...
He's like, I want to get O'Reilly off the team. Let me snipe his finger.
I think Matthews wants to leave, dude. He's like, yo, if we don't get out the first round, I'm walking out the door. Here's my chance, boys.
Dude, go play in front of 2,000 fans in Arizona.
It almost seemed like in the second round of those playoffs, like Toronto's like, dude, we don't know what to do. We haven't been here.
Yeah.
We don't have gas, boys. Like, what do we
Where's
do
our
here?
golf clubs?
Yeah,
Shout out Coach Chippy.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, but it's just I don't know. It was brutal, man.
No, but honestly, I think it's more of a retirement thing. Like that's where you go to like.
And I'll just play out those 4 years
Yeah,
in Nashville
exactly.
and call it a career.
And plus, he got a cup already.
He's gonna drink some beers, just have some fun, and just.
In Smashville, dude. You know the country vibe there, dude.
Yeah.
I want to go.
Yeah, I want to be, dude. We should.
This next year, let's book a trip to Nashville.
Yeah.
Let's go catch the game there. Canucks versus Nashville.
Oh, of course.
Of all the teams you could pick, you picked Canucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was just the first team that popped in my head.
Oh,
I don't know
okay.
why.
I wondered.
Yeah. And then we mentioned this earlier in the pod, Ottawa signing Jonas Korpisalo to a 5-year deal, $4 million per season. Last year he had 11 wins, 11 losses, and 3 overtime losses with his time split between Columbus and LA.
I think that's a great pickup for Ottawa. Honestly, I think that, like when Columbus traded him to LA, I didn't know why they did it. I thought that was a terrible trade. I've seen him play, like he's quite a little streaky, but I think he's coming into his own. I think he is a really good goalie, and the fact that Ottawa right now, who's already having goalie troubles with like the whole Cam Talbot situation and everything else.
Yeah.
Ottawa, I don't know what's going on there, but they seem to be getting better every deadline and every offseason. I'm not sure what's going to happen with DeBrincat this year, but I think that's a really good pickup for him. The term's not too long, the money's not too big, and I think he just gets better.
Yeah, and again for a goalie that is just an average, solid NHL goaltender coming in below $5 million, I think it's a great deal.
You think they make the playoffs next year with that?
If they can get a good package back for DeBrincat, they'll be in the playoffs. If they just have to trade DeBrincat to some random team and they get back a couple picks, then
Maybe
they
trade
won't
him
make it.
to New Jersey for some bonehead in a third-round pick, and
Watch them trade him to New Jersey for Toffoli.
can you imagine?
Yeah, but what do you think about the DeBrincat thing? Like, dude, why did they even risk the gamble on him at this point? I know they didn't really trade much to get him, but
Yeah, well, I just think that didn't think they knew at the offset that he didn't want to be there. They just wanted him to get better.
Similar, like, oh, I can't play in the Canadian market, I want to go back to America. I don't know, it's such a joke, man. Like, to me, if you're a true hockey, like, you shouldn't care where you got to. I mean, obviously you're gonna care where you got to play, but like, just play the game.
Yeah.
You work 6 months of the year. Go home for 6 months. Come back and play the game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
well, and that's the thing though. Like you and I discuss this all the time. That's the problem with nowadays with Canadian markets, man. The media, the fans are so toxic. Like, not to discredit any of you. Like, I love that passion and everything, but geez, guys, give your teams a break.
well, it's like they're still human beings too. Like, I don't like JT Miller. I'm not a Canucks fan, but I've heard stories of him from like last season. You know, he'd be out chilling with his family in Vancouver because they do have to live here half the time or whatever, and you know, he's getting like bombarded and harassed in public, and like, dude, nobody wants to deal with that crap. You know, they just want to come here, play hockey, and like, you know, try and be good for the city. And you know, I think all Canadian markets do it. I know Calgary does it. I know Toronto does it. Obviously, Vancouver does it. You know, 2 riots.
Edmonton for sure.
Edmonton, yeah, like just all Canadian. I think Ottawa honestly is on the least of that list.
Probably, I would say
And
so.
they still don't want to play for them. Like, I got to give Brady Tkachuk credit. You know, he did something
Signing
his
a big
brother
deal and
didn't do.
staying there.
So
Yeah.
what do you think? What do you think these Canadian markets have to do though to like change that?
See, I think it's partially due to taxes.
Yeah,
And then the
that's
other reason as well, I
Weather.
think it's weather, it's location, because you don't really see this happening that much in Vancouver. This is not being biased.
No.
People don't want to leave Vancouver.
Well, it's like the nicest
For the
one
most
usually.
part, right?
There have been some stories where players are like toxic environment.
Okay, but
for the most part,
Ryan
yes.
Kessler, is the only guy that really comes to mind, but most people want to play in Vancouver. Same thing with Edmonton, although that's more of a, you know, just because they have high skilled players like McDavid and Draisaitl. But like Calgary, Winnipeg, both those places, super cold. Not so much
Toronto,
Toronto.
Winnipeg too.
Lately,
Winnipeg's-
in the last few years, Calgary's been getting worse.
I'd say so too. Well, look at just this past year, dude. Like all you guys want to leave.
Yeah, we'll definitely see what happens in Calgary for sure.
What do you think? Like genuinely, like is there anything other than like explaining what the problem is? Like what can they do to stay? There's really nothing they
No,
can
nothing.
do at this point.
Just wait until taxes
But and
go
that's
down.
and that's why do you think that's? I feel like that's why they're overpaying here.
They have
You
to,
have to
pay
mitigate
compete
that.
with the U.S. markets.
Yeah.
I think as well that I'm at the point. I think they should just keep trying to sign local and Canadian players who don't give a crap about the weather because they're used to it.
Yeah, or Europeans too. Europeans,
Yes.
generally speaking.
Yeah.
Calgary loves their
Yes.
sweets.
Yeah,
We
we love
love
our
it.
sweets
We love
too
our
in
sweets.
Vancouver, man.
Dude, and then like for Montreal, like imagine going to Montreal and having to learn French. Like great language, I love it and everything, but like not everybody wants to come in and learn
Did you just say
French.
French is a great
Let's say it
language? What?
But you're
No, but like you know what I mean though? Like, dude, that's an unfortunate thing too. Like some people just want to play hockey.
I don't have to like learn a language to like go get coffee.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that's what I'm
Yeah.
getting at, right? Like you have to.
All right, boys. Speaking of just playing hockey here, we have Matt Duchene gets bought out from Nashville, and he just signed a contract in Dallas for just 1 year at $3 million per season. Last year he had 22 goals, but the season before he had a 40-goal season performance. What do you guys think about that signing?
Going back to Nashville, I don't know why they'd buy him out. I think he has had a bad year. Duchesne's very streaky again.
Yeah.
But for Dallas, huge opportunity.
Yeah.
1 year at $3 million. He's basically just a rental at this point. One of the best rentals you can get for $3 million.
One
Yeah,
of the fastest
exactly.
players too.
Yeah.
He still puts up good points. Like that couple of years ago, yeah, he was well over a point per game, 40 goals, playing on the line with Forsberg, which is whatever. But I think that's a great pickup for Dallas. I think again they're someone that's also continuing to get better. And then
Yeah.
you have Jason Robertson, who's at this point he's elite.
Yeah.
Such a good
And
player.
he came out of
He came out of second round.
Like,
He came out
top
of
8
nowhere.
player in the league.
he
Oh,
came
yeah.
out of nowhere too.
Yeah.
Like nobody expected him to put up numbers like that.
Not at all.
No.
And yeah, just to kind of put a cap on that with Matt Duchene. I love the term, right? If it doesn't work out, you can flip him at the deadline for something, right? And if it works out, great. You got him for a year for a
$3
cup
million.
run, right?
Yeah.
For $3 million.
I-
Excellent pickup.
Honestly, I wish Colorado, like he stayed with Colorado, Duchesne, man.
Yeah, but I don't think they would have won a cup if they didn't trade Duchene.
I don't know, man. I think Duchesne, like if they signed him to the deal that he's at now,
Yeah.
it would have been so like full circle. You know, maybe Patty Waugh comes back. Pull the goalie with 10 minutes left, boys.
Coach, we're up by a goal. Doesn't matter. Get out there.
He's still pissed at Montreal.
And then we have Jason Zucker signing in Arizona for a 1-year deal worth $5.3 million that season. Last year he had 27 goals, 21 assists, 48 points in Pittsburgh. What is Arizona doing? Just trying to reach the cap floor with this?
Honestly, dude, I think Zucker fleeced them, to be honest, dude. It was more of a money bag situation. He knew he wasn't getting the bag in Pittsburgh.
Or anywhere else, really.
He's like, yeah, I'll go buy a house out in Tempe for the year. I'll go rent an Airbnb and go make a bunch of money and like go back wherever I want to play.
Yeah, and then if the team ends up relocating to Houston or something, he goes to Houston and just has the time of his life out there in Texas.
Kansas City.
Houston.
Why Houston?
Because it is the biggest market in the States that currently does not have an NHL team.
I mean, no state income tax there, too, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like they're gonna get their first team that's gonna be like trash. You know?
The Houston Coyotes? There's no snow there.
Yeah.
No, they'd probably change. They'd probably change the team.
They definitely would have to
Something
change
else.
the team, dude.
Yeah,
Well,
like
Houston. Oh, I can't.
the Houston spaceships just go off the Houston Rockets sort of deal.
Oh my god, if they did that, I could see the ownership. They show up in the same suits with it's a spaceship coming up their suit.
Yeah,
Like,
belt buckle.
yeah, he's got an astronaut helmet when they come up to the draft for my next pick.
And then we had Alex Killorn absolutely cashing in with Anaheim for 4 years, $6.25 million a season, and last year in Tampa, 27 goals, 37 assists for 64 points. Alex Killorn just getting paid.
I like that pickup for Anaheim though. I think they need some veteran. Not veteran, but I think they need some they need help, bro. They're just too young of a team. They have too many young players that don't have enough experience yet.
Yeah, and I'm agreeing with you. I don't think it was a bad signing by Anaheim by any means. I'm just saying that Killorn, he's been a good player for many years, and he finally gets the big money deal that he's been looking for.
Dude, and Tampa's gonna miss him, man.
100%.
Dude, he was elite in Tampa. You see Tampa crumbling every year, dude. They're just getting worse. I think it's over.
I think they miss the playoffs next year.
I don't think they make the.
I don't think they miss. I think they make it like.
What?
I'll take they miss the playoffs.
No.
Bet you a bottle of Prime
No.
Tampa miss the playoffs next
No,
year.
they don't. I'll
Bet you
take
a
them,
case of
dude.
Prime.
Yeah, one whole case of Prime.
You heard it here first.
Yeah,
folks.
okay. Deal?
Okay, they're kind of making Charlie.
Yes.
Anyways,
Anyways, no, but I definitely, like I said, I definitely think Tampa misses him. He's a good pickup for Anaheim. You need a veteran presence. Anyways, so yeah, they definitely need it. I mean, yeah, dude, Leo Carlson's gonna rack up the points.
Yeah, I think he
Oh my
could.
God.
I think he could.
You think he plays on the power play? Yeah.
Killorn?
Yeah.
He'll be on their first unit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes.
I don't know what the
yeah,
first
I don't
unit.
know first unit. I think second unit.
No,
but-
he'll be on their first unit. Just
And-
with his playmaking ability, I think they put him there.
And the PK.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, PK.
Yeah,
for sure,
100%. I think he plays in all situations
Then
for them.
you
I think he plays in that too.
You think?
They throw him in because John Gibson just blew both of his hips out. He's like, all right,
John Gibson's
Killorn, it's
go-
your turn.
He's
I
leaving.
heard
He's
John
going.
Gibson's going to Pittsburgh.
No, not anymore, dude. After the Yari signing.
Oh yeah,
Re-sign
I guess,
him for-
yeah.
Oh, didn't Pittsburgh re-signed their backup too, didn't they? Or signed it? Oh no,
Casey
Nedeljkovic. That's who they signed to be back.
Dude, I'm
Wait, you guys
so-
letting it?
I am
They signed
so
Nedeljkovic.
happy we got rid of Casey D. Smith, man. He was Casey D. Bum for a bit, man. Like, oh my god, dude. He was so
Casey
stupid.
Smith and Wesson.
Yeah,
And
seriously.
on the topic of goalies, what I think was the worst signing of the day on July 1st, Ilya Sorokin getting re-signed by the Islanders for an 8-year deal, $8.25 million a season. Last year he finished with 31 wins, 22 losses, and 7 OT losses.
Garbage.
I think that's another one of those signings where it's like, oh my god, he had one good year. Let's pay him the bag. Because don't you notice nowadays, like back in the day, like the NHL would pay you from like the production you've made, right? Now the NHL has kind of shifted into the, like, you know, the
Projecting.
projecting. Yeah, exactly how far they can go. But like that's another one of those things. Like I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. Like it could work out in the long run because some goalies, like, you know, some goalies will get good at the age of 30, but then some goalies will be good at the age of 20. So it's such a weird
The
dynamic.
problem is he's already a good goalie at age 27. You think he can keep this up until age 35
No.
at $8 million
Ask
a
Jacob
season?
Markstrom.
Huh?
Ask Jacob Markstrom.
No. Not that I won't ask Jacob Markstrom, but the fact that Jacob Markstrom doesn't seem to be as good anymore.
Well,
Not
you
even
can
close.
kind of stop a beach ball sometimes.
Yeah.
If the beach was big enough.
Dude, McDavid,
Yeah.
McDavid just ruined him, man. Ruined Markstrom.
Broke his confidence.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
done. I don't think he gets it back. You think he turns around next year or
No.
what?
No.
No?
No.
No.
Why
I
do you
think we
think
need to
that?
bring up Dustin Wolf and
Yeah,
let Jacob
why
Martin take it back.
Dustin Wolf is an excellent goaltender.
Or
I
you
think
just-
he can take the starting job next year for sure.
Or you just call Mika Kipsov, tell him to come back in, strap on
Tell him
the
to have a
pads,
couple smokes and get back in there.
have a couple darts and a couple pack of chew, and we're good to go, boys.
All right, Mika, it's your turn, bud. Strap on the pads. Let's go.
Mika! Get Iggy back on the wing.
Michael Frolik.
Chucker!
And to kind of wrap up our podcast here, we're going to finish up with a fun little game. I want to pick your guys' brain on what do you think the NHL should do in terms of some rule changes to the game?
You want me to start?
Sure.
I have one that's not really, I have two briefly. One that's not really a rule, but something they should bring back. I think they need to bring back the NHL All-Star Draft.
Definitely. I want a car.
Yes.
For the All-Star game. I don't like
Me
the
neither.
new format, how every team has an All-Star.
Yeah, me
That's
neither.
garbage. Not every
No.
team has an All-Star.
Yeah.
Whereas before, you have the All-Star players who get drafted to one of the team. Like, I think that was way more fun. It was way more... It felt like an All-Star game. It didn't
did.
feel like some random charity game for like
We
kids
have
cancer.
Zemgus Girgensons out there spinning
yeah.
John
around.
Scott. Like,
Yeah, I think I missed the All-Star draft. You know, like Phil Kessler going last and stuff like that, and Ovi with the
Wanting
whole
the
car.
car.
And everything.
Yeah.
He's like, I want the car.
So much more drama, too.
Oh yeah.
It was fun, dude. It made it entertaining.
And then
for
they
the
could do
league.
trades.
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm liking the way that's shaping up.
I think they definitely have to bring it back. You guys should drop your comments down below and say what you want to as well.
And then the actual rule that I have is a rule I've been whining about forever. I hate overtime. 3-on-3 overtime is great, but here's the thing. What I think they should do is make 3-on-3 overtime the 5 minutes. So it's not first goal wins, it's 5 minutes. Whoever scores the most goals in 5 minutes. Because that format, they score so often.
It's so quick.
And sometimes, let's say, you know, a team makes a comeback from 4 goals in the third. They have this crazy comeback, and then they get one bad play they make, and then the game's over in overtime. I would like to see it as, you know, just go at it 3-on-3 for 5 minutes, and whoever scores the most goals wins.
And then if they still tied afterwards,
That's just
Shootout.
a shootout.
just go shootout.
I just think it would bring a lot more excitement to the game, and it would show
Yeah.
off like a lot more, like so many beauty plays get made in overtime. You know, I think it'd be really like it'd be a nail biter.
You know what? I can actually see that because teams right now, they're so scared to make that mistake. You
Yeah.
often see teams playing extremely conservative.
And it's
on
so
3-on-3.
slow.
That's
Yeah.
why though, because
So I think that would allow for things to open up a lot more.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of allowing things to open up a bit more, my rule change, and this might be an extremely hot take here, but getting rid of the blue line and offsides entirely.
What? So you could have Quinn or JT Miller just camping at their pass it up here.
So here's the thing. I think this would introduce some very differing strategies among teams. Like you can
yeah.
imagine one team. All right, you know, JT, go stand in front of the net. All right. Well, now it's a 5-on-4 for the other team on your end, right? Are you gonna take that 5-on-4 and treat it like a power play and just hope if they dump to the other side that you can have a guy back enough to defend that, right? Or are you gonna have a guy defending the other guy on the other side of the net, and then you won't have these stupid offside reviews that take forever, right? Sitting there for 8 minutes
Yeah,
trying to
Toronto.
Let me call Toronto.
sitting there for 8 minutes just to see if the microblade on his skate was a little bit past the blue line. Like, I think it would just open up the game to so much more different, you know, speed, strategy. It sounds weird, but I'd like to see them like give it a shot in an exhibition game or something.
Yeah,
just
like-
see what happens.
Like a preseason game. Actually, I could kind of see where you're going with that.
Yeah.
Especially for the speed aspect of the game. NHL's just missing entertainment.
Yeah.
Bring back touch icing.
Speaking for entertainment, yes, dude, the touch
people
icing.
get obliterated.
Dude, remember when Buffalo would just come boom?
Yeah, that
just
would be
crank them.
The amount of
Yeah.
concussions in the league goes up 5 times.
Well, that's the problem, right? That's
Yeah.
why they did that. No, but like speaking of me for like entertainment, like I think the NHL has a tanking problem lately.
Mhm.
So I think like, dude, I got 2 of them. I think the first one would be a losers tournament. Picture this: the last 8 teams, they go into a tournament, right? And then the winner of that tournament gets the first pick.
I hate that.
I think,
I hate
dude,
that.
but that would be
that sounds
so
nice.
entertaining on an aspect of who's gonna get the pick, and then obviously, like, you know, like it just brings more engagement to the fans. I think.
So I agree with you on that aspect where it would be more entertaining. Yes. All right. You have every team would theoretically have a shot at getting first
Yeah.
overall. The biggest issue that I see with that though is you're gonna have some teams that are terrible forever.
Yeah.
Right. If you have a team like, let's take Arizona Coyotes from a couple years ago, where they were dog water. They were bad. Right. If they are never able to do well in that tournament, they will never ever be good.
Yeah, but that's the thing. You never know though with those things. It'd be single game elimination, and dude, anybody can win in any night. Like realistically, you've seen Arizona beat the first place teams. You've seen Arizona beat a second,
To
etc.
be fair, 2 seasons ago, Arizona was like the only person that could beat Colorado.
That's what I'm saying.
That's true.
No, but that's
You
what I'm
got
saying.
Dyson
You never
Mayo,
know.
you got Clayton Keller.
And then plus,
Okay.
dude, it gets rid of the tanking. And then honestly, for my second one, even better, like to really get rid of the tanking, I would do. Okay, so the bottom 2 teams of the NHL, they go up against each other, and then the loser of that NHL team would go down to the AHL, and then the Calder Cup winner would come up to the NHL. I think that gets rid of tanking.
That would 100% get rid
100%.
of taken, makes it more similar to football overseas, right, where you got the promotion relegation. I have a question for you then.
Yeah.
What would that do with having, like, let's say your Calder Cup winners, for example, are the Calgary Wranglers,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
example, right? So now the Calgary Wranglers and the Calgary Flames are both playing in the NHL. How do you deal with call-ups now?
You'd have to go overseas. Not exactly, and that would be even better. If you think about it, you play like say KHL team, right? Obviously, with what's going on with Russia, like that's not the best example. But like another team or like the SH, like the Swedish league and stuff, you make those your teams now, and now you're bringing in European players from the league. Right? And dude, you're just expanding your reach more and more. You get rid of the tanking issue. Plus, if going off of your example, imagine 2 Calgary teams in the NHL. Like it's like the
Dude, that'd be like the
New
battle.
York.
That wouldn't even be the Battle of Alberta no more. It's just like the Battle of Calgary.
Yeah, and then like
The bloodiest,
and that's not to say that like realistically, like if an NHL team went down to the AHL, they're winning the Calder Cup next year.
Yeah.
So they're coming back, and then if they don't, that just even more embarrassing.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it gets like I said, it gets rid of tanking. Nobody's gonna want to finish last. Nobody wants to play in the AHL. So you put them there and say, hey, you know what? Batman's like, dude, you sucked.
Be
You
better.
tanked. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then as goes for the first pick, like that's where you really have to decide, right? Like how you decide the first pick now, right?
Yeah, I love the idea of promotion and relegation. I think it's the best system out there in terms of preventing taking. There would be a lot of logistics to work
You'd
out
have
with that,
to, yeah.
but that's not a bad idea. I don't mind it.
Yeah, honestly, like drop your guys' comments down below for that too. Like, we'll everything you guys say, we'll talk about.
Yeah. All right, boys, that wraps it up for another episode of Talk That Stick. Join us next time where we will be doing our preseason outlooks for all 32 NHL teams. And our first episode for that, we will be covering the Anaheim Ducks, Arizona Coyotes, and Boston Bruins.
We also have a TikTok segment. But anyways, we'll cut that before. We can do TikTok separate.
I thought that's what we were going to do, TikToks.
I thought we would
after
just
that.
add it in.
No, I thought that's the episode we'll